5 seconds. It is necessary that the basic school buildings and staff should be utilized to the fullest possible extent by serving children in the morning, adolescent schools and clubs for young people in the afternoon, and education center for adults in the evening. Our program cannot be completely successful unless the basic schools sponsored by the government are also centers for the life of the entire village community. It will be necessary to provide a fair proportion of games and group activities for the adolescents, as otherwise their interest in instruction is likely to flag. Similarly, in the case of adults, the emphasis will be more on social education than on mere literacy, and this will be imparted through visual, oral and oral methods. The importance of adequate methods of visual and oral education for adolescents and adults need not be stressed. The Government of India intends to encourage the production of folk drama and rural plays by the villagers themselves. Prizes for the purpose may be given from time to time, and competitions held between different villages or local units. Films can also play a great part in teaching the lessons of citizenship, social responsibility, personal health, public hygiene, physical drill, and other matters of immediate benefit to the community. The radio is also a powerful instrument of oral education, and I have under considerations plans for full utilization of both the films and the radio. I need hardly say that all our educational program will ultimately depend upon the proper education of women. If women take to education, more than half of our problems will be solved. Educated mothers will mean children who can be easily made literate. From the point of view of expense and management, it would have been simplest if men and women could be taught through the same agencies. I know, however, that the existing conditions in India will not permit this. At the same time, our finances will not allow a complete duplication of the whole apparatus for teaching men and women separately. I would therefore suggest that for the basic schools, that is, for children between the ages of 6 and 11, the institutions might be co-educational. For the adolescents, the solution is to set apart certain days in the week for girls and boys. I would suggest that 3 days in the week may be reserved for girls only. I am grateful to you for the interest you have taken in this exhibition of Indian art and the readiness with which you accepted our invitation to open it. Organized by the Ministry of Education, this exhibition is the first of its kind in India. I am sure you will agree with me that No program of national education is complete unless it can provide an appropriate place to national art. The present exhibition is a recognition of this fact and marks the first step towards the goal which the Ministry of Education has set before itself. The most significant characteristic of this exhibition is that it opens before us a vista of 5,000 years of Indian history in all its continuity and wealth. Its value for educational purposes can therefore be easily grasped. It will, I think, be proper to describe briefly the manner in which the exhibits in this collection were chosen. The Royal Academy of Art in London has been taking a special interest in Oriental art since before the war. In 1931, the Academy organized the exhibition of Iranian art, and in 1935, that of the art of China. After the war was over, it proposed that a similar exhibition of Indian art should be held. The Government of India warmly welcomed the idea and assured the Royal Academy of every possible help. Accordingly, it was proposed to hold the exhibition of Indian art in London. It has been decided that the principle governing the selection of exhibits should be that they would represent the art of India both from its historical and its artistic aspect. Art objects of India are scattered all over the country. Some are in the possession of the central government, some are with the provinces, and some in the Indian states. There are, in addition, many rare specimens in the ownership of private individuals. It was therefore necessary that specialists in art should examine all collections carefully and make their selection. A committee was formed for the purpose with His Excellency the Governor of UP for the purpose. These experts from England came to serve on the committee. They toured all over the country and after careful examination chose about 1,000 exhibits which were sent to England in 239 cases. The exhibition in London fulfilled the purpose for which the collections had been made, and the time came for the return of the exhibits. The Ministry of Education, however, felt that before the exhibits were dispersed, they should once be exhibited in India for the benefit of people here.
Subscribe now and press the bell icon. Never miss an update.